So I was looking at all of the different stuff that I have as far as gear and trying to get rid of things and like stuff I don't need, like the god awful Nitro deck. And I was faced with this realization. I got a lot of third-party stuff for my Nintendo Switch. And in doing so, I'm like, man, you know, some of the information that I have on these might be worth something. It might be useful. And maybe there are people out there that are looking to purchase some stuff for their Nintendo Switch third party and want to know, what should I get? Joy-Con replacements, sleds, third-party controllers. And so today I'm actually looking at the only third-party stuff that I would use personally if I had to choose one from each category. And before we do that, let's talk about our brew method. We're going back to this. I had such a good time drinking that AeroPress yesterday that I want to do it again. So we're going to be doing that again, except we're going to get the recipe right. I think that it was a little too coarse, so I'm going to fine it up. I'm going to go one click on my Ode grinder, and I guess I'll put those right there next to Mario and Luigi. We're going to go ahead and weigh out 15 grams of coffee, and that is going to be our dose for the day. And then we'll have 250 grams of water, but 15 grams of coffee for the AeroPress Go. This is going to be 15 grams of coffee of the Ursa blend from my buddy's coffee shop. And let's dive right in. So we have a lot of different things to cover today, from controllers, and here's the deal. There are 3 categories that I would consider for your Nintendo Switch, but then there's a 4th bonus category that I'll get to at the end of stuff that you absolutely don't need whatsoever, but I would still consider because they are so freaking cool. So first, let's talk about just Joy-Con replacements. There are so many different ones out there. Binbach, Hori, all of those, and I've tried a good amount of them. Today, I'm covering the Nixie Hyperions. This is not the prettiest when it comes to the controller itself or the Joy-Cons themselves, and there are far prettier ones. Heck, I have the Hori split pad compacts right here. These are really sleek. They look great, but I still wouldn't recommend them over these Nixies, even though I do think they look a lot better, because the function of these, though they are expensive, far outweigh the form of the others, which for some, form is more important than function, and I totally understand that sentiment. I'm someone who feels that way in some ways, but if I had to choose one to use, which I don't use, just so you know, I do not use Joy-Con replacements. But if you're on the market for Joy-Con replacements because it's something that you will use and you're like, this has a tremendous amount of value to me, then these guys I would look into for 2 reasons. One, they have rumble. That is massive for me. Rumble is a huge, huge addition. It's something I do enjoy and I do look for when it comes to Joy-Cons or my gaming experience. I like rumble. I am one of those guys. It is that important to me. So it has rumble. 2, it has gyro. That has the whole gyro thing, which I know for some people is important. And 3, the ergonomics of it are actually, I think, some of the best. I know that there's something like the Split Pad Pros by Hori, which some people really enjoy. I know my buddy Tyson really enjoys those, but I think those look like balloons. And at least with these kind of give off a futuristic, like Master Chief-esque vibe to them. And I would say that when it comes to form factor, again, it at least gives you some sort of design language that is potentially desirable. But when they're together like this is actually a very comfortable feel. All the buttons feel really, really good. The triggers are, I feel like these are, they're analog triggers, or not analog, whatever the button ones are. I get them all mixed up. And the buttons feel really clicky, like really, really clicky. And by themselves, they also feel really, really good. They're substantial and they have weight to them. And I think the big chunky plastic thing that you get with some of these, I don't like that. And so for this, these do have that feel. Now, another thing that is really, really huge about these is they're independently powered. So you can make this right here a wireless controller. Not a wired controller, but a wireless controller. And I think that that is massive. There are a couple gripes I have with this, like each one is independently charged if you're going to charge it off of the Switch. I would think that having this section, this little green section with a USB-C would be better to charge or pass through for this, but they're independently charged. That's kind of weird. I did that backwards. But other than that one thing, they're pretty much solid. I'm doing this all sorts of wrong here. There we go. And we're gonna spin this and press it out. I'm messing that up, that's fine. I'm trying to do like 9 things at once. The thumbsticks feel really, really good and smooth. And if for some reason you need to change out your thumbsticks, you can do that. The thumbsticks come off. Now, they don't have alternate thumbsticks when it comes to these themselves. They're just these, like you can't buy raised ones. They don't have raised ones, but what they do have are these little metal rings. And so those metal rings, I guess, protect the outside of the thumbstick, and then you put this back on and you have your thumbstick here. Now, they have the Hall sensing or Hall effect or whatever it's called thumbsticks, so you are going to have that anti-drift kind of thing that I know people are really, really big on, and it's a really important consideration when it comes to something like this because they are $50 to $60 depending on if you get them on sale or full retail. Again, I think they look kind of crazy. They're big and chunky, but as far as a controller is concerned, you're going to feel nice. I do like the clickiness of the buttons. They far outperform the clickiness of something like the Hori split pad. Like, these feel okay. The thumbsticks are okay, but these guys feel really, really great. And so for someone who has like super prolonged gaming sessions, like this is the play when it comes to alternate pro style Joy-Con replacements. This is the play. Now if you're looking for just a D-pad, there is just a D-pad replacement by Hori. I have this really simple. This is not powered though, and so this will not be able to function on its own. You put this in and you got yourself a D-pad like so. I think that it's an okay D-pad. It's not the best out there, but if you're like missing your D-pad, here it is, right here. So that's just a quick, simple suggestion. Now let's go on to a category that I think is wild. Again, not one that I would ever solo, but I am impressed with what it has. And it is the sled. I have tried 4 sleds now, 2 of which I haven't reviewed on the channel because they were so bad, and 1 of which I have because I felt like it deserved being talked about because of its marketing. But this right here is the Retro Flag sled. I think that this is the only sled that's actually worth its salt. It's really simple. It doesn't have all these different switch out the buttons and all that stuff. It's just a sled. It has a very, very nice D-pad. It has really, really good triggers. The thumbstick feels great. This is again, like, looking at it, you're like, oh yeah, it's a GameCube, but it's nice. There's no locking mechanism when you slide your Switch in here, but it does have a felt back, so you're not going to screw up and scratch the back of your Switch like you will with something like the Nitro Deck, which I called at the beginning, and I saw Retro Game Pickups. He had a video about the Nitro Deck and how it scratched the back of his Switch, and he was not stoked about it. And so I am so glad that I ditched the Nitro Deck because I do play on my TV. This right here really does feel nice. The triggers are nice. It is, as far as the size of it, it's not massive and chunky, and the form factor is enough to be inspiring, I think. The form factor of the Nitro Deck is just so gross. And so this does have a better form factor. Now, a couple things to note. One is you have to enable Pro controller support, so you end up losing amiibo functionality, which is a thing that some people don't like. This isn't a controller on its own, which I know that the Nitro Deck brags about being a controller on its own. It does have charging pass-through, but this cannot be used on a TV. You can't pass through the video, which is kind of a bummer. And as far as additional functionality is concerned, there are no back buttons. But I personally don't think that the whole back button thing is necessary, especially with a Nintendo Switch in a lot of ways. If you're someone who needs back buttons, then this probably isn't for you. But if you're looking for like a really comfortable alternative to your gaming experience when it comes to like handheld, this is great as far as the sled is concerned. Now there's only one other thing in this category, which I forgot to pull out here, and I'm gonna have to find it real quick so that I can show you guys. And that's gonna be the grips. So this, I would say, is in the same category of altering the design of the Switch, and this is the only grip I would use. This is the Zen Grip Ronin, the only grip I would use. I wouldn't use anything else because this just allows me to dock my Switch. So it does give me a better grip and better handheld. Now this is asymmetrical because the buttons are laid out differently. So if you look at it here, you're gonna see this is asymmetrical to match the button placement, so you're not arching your thumb to use the second joystick and stuff. And so this is a very, very good piece here. It comes with its own case, and so, oh, well, you have to purchase it. So this is a nice setup and a good alternative if you're looking just to change the form factor of the Switch. But this itself, as a controller, as a sled, is a very, very good sled. I like it a lot. I just don't use it. So far, all the stuff you've seen, I don't use regularly. Now we're gonna get into the last category of controllers, real controllers, there's a bonus category of stuff I actually do use regularly. Now, that's better. That's better. More body. Okay, cool. So we're a little bit tighter on the grind. There are only two controllers that I think, if I had to dumb it down and say there's no other options for you third-party wise, these are the only controllers you're able to own. I would choose, and you can only choose one, I would choose a specific one, but I have to mention both because I think both are able to play in the same field, okay? So the two that I have is I have the 8BitDo Pro 2 and I have the 8BitDo Ultimate controller. And so the reason why I have both of these is because some people loathe this format of thumbstick placement, of which I don't. I prefer it. So this would be my pick. I love this thumbstick placement. I love the D-pad being in this position. I think that having a controller with an alternate thumbstick placement, some symmetrical versus asymmetrical, allows you to use the D-pad in the proper orientation here for side scrollers that do utilize the D-pad. But for others who are like, no, I don't play a lot of those, then maybe having the thumbstick over there for your gaming sessions might make more sense because you're more likely to use the thumbstick in that more ergonomic feel. But anyway, back to the decision between the two. These are, in my opinion, equal. Some people would disagree, but I personally agree. So for this, it has back buttons if you're into that kind of thing, but it utilizes the 8BitDo Ultimate software. So you can actually reprogram things here, and I've done that. So I was playing what was it, Link's Awakening, and so for some reason the remaster of Link's Awakening only allows you to use the thumbstick, but someone's like, you can swap the left thumbstick with the left D-pad in the Ultimate software and program it to one of the 3 profiles here. So I did that, and so this actually is registering as a thumbstick for my Nintendo Switch because I was on that profile that did so, and I was able to play Link's Awakening with the D-pad because it was registering as a thumbstick. That was awesome. The buttons on this are amazing. Of course, the color scheme, this is my go-to color profile of everything, is Game Boy. But this is such a great controller. There are a couple things that are unnecessary, like there are full trigger pulls. There's no need for that. You don't need to have full trigger pulls, and this cannot power on your Switch. No matter what you do, you're gonna have to turn on your Switch. This will not do it. And for some, that's a deal breaker. For me, it's not. It comes with a rechargeable battery, although you can remove this and put normal batteries if you want in there. And it does have multiple inputs, anything from Android to iOS, and then also has the Switch and an X input, which I forgot what all the different inputs are. So there are multiple inputs that you have for this. So this controller is my pick when it comes to third party. This is the only controller you have. I have more of these, and I have their SNES version of it. But this is my pick when it comes to the only controller. Now this, if you're like, I don't like symmetrical, I want asymmetrical, this is the other option. It comes with a charging dock, which is nice. I think this is great. When this is plugged in and you put this down right here, it'll glow white when it says it's charging, and then if it's not glowing, then it's fully charged. It won't keep delivering a charge. It doesn't have a replaceable battery. So this has to be charged using this or using USB-C. Again, most people prefer that. I like having options, but it's not a deal breaker at all for me. This comes with a 2.4 gigahertz receiver, which I am currently having plugged in permanently to my Steam Deck dock, and that will be switched on the back between Bluetooth and 2.4. This doesn't have multiple inputs. This is designed for the Switch and for PC, or for that dongle. That is it. This doesn't have different types of inputs. Now, it does have, similarly, the profiles here, if that's something you're into, and it has all of the same rumble features, gyro features, everything you would expect, and can be fully customized in that software, which I think is super dope. When it comes to the feel of the controller, I would say that this is a very, very good feeling controller. I certainly like it more than an Xbox controller. I know that seems crazy, but I think that the vertical, like these come down like this versus an Xbox that angles out slightly. I don't know why, but I prefer it. I think it's because the Nintendo Switch controller is similar. It angles down, and you guys know me, I'm first party only. So really, when it comes to playing video games, I actually just use first party, but today's not about first party. We'll do first party maybe tomorrow or the next day. And so this is just the third party conversation. These two are absolutely the one of the two that I would choose. If I'm being honest, I would get both, but the necessity for both is not really there. Although I do think that having that extra D-pad in that orientation is nice, even though they do make a controller that allows you to have that D-pad like this. This is not the most comfortable, right? I'm gonna be honest. This is way more comfortable because you have that grip and you have all the same functionality. So I honestly would just get this over this, despite the fact that this is the freaking coolest looking thing that has ever graced this planet. And I keep this in my to-go pouch, and it's always with me because I'm just that way when it comes to controllers. I like the way they look. I mean, I have a bunch of them displayed right here. Another couple of things that, I mentioned that this guy doesn't turn on your Switch. This can. I thought it couldn't for the longest time. And then one of you guys told me it can. You just have to shake it. Literally, you pick up the controller, and as long as it's like trying to turn on and it has a little button, you shake the controller and it will turn on your Switch, which I just went over there and turned on my Switch. And so that is a really, really nice feature to have. When it comes to the controllers situation, these are the two that I would, these are the ones I would choose from. Okay, now let's get into the bonus category, the absolutely unnecessary, but I think everybody should own this because it's the coolest thing in the world category. And that is my pride and joy. The 8-Bit Dough arcade stick. I know this feels like an 8-Bit Dough commercial. It's not. They don't even have an affiliate program. So if you purchase anything by 8-Bit Dough, you can use the affiliate link that I use for Amazon, which is just because I can find it on Amazon, but I get only what Amazon's going to give me. And if you do want to purchase some of these, do that because it steals from Amazon and gives to me, which is nice. Anyway, so this is so freaking dope. I think this is the coolest thing ever. They have one for the Nintendo Switch, and they have made one for the Xbox. I don't have the one for the Xbox, and I won't get one for the Xbox because there's no need for it. They graciously sent this to me, but I would 100% buy it, especially because it's $90. 90 bucks. This is anywhere from 60 to 70. This is only 20 bucks more, 30 bucks more. So great. Has multiple cool things going for it. One, it has, everything that I've talked about has turbo buttons. If you're into turbo buttons, they all have turbo buttons. All of them. Even this guy. Except for the Joy-Con replacement for the D-pad and the Satisfy, of course. But this has two inputs. It has a switch and then X. For switch, when you look down at it, you guys can't see this, but it has Y, X, B, A for the first four buttons right here. And then when you switch it over, it has B, A, X, Y, B, A, B, because it's different. So it changes where the buttons are, and then it has right button, right trigger versus RL, ZR, ZL. And so the lights change depending on which input you have. And then it has another toggle switch, which is left stick, D-pad, right stick. And that's gonna dictate what this has going for it. And the actuator on this feels so nice. A couple complaints I have. It also has these player 1 and player 2 buttons, which I haven't had any use for it. You can plug it directly in with a cable, and here is also a USB thing that you just keep in there unless you need to use it. Now, my couple gripes. One, the hand placement when using this, I wish that there was more for this hand. It just feels a little bit weird. That's gripe number one. Gripe number two is It is a little bulky. I don't know if it needs to be this bulky, but it is. But they make up for it with a little bit of a slant, and the design of it, I think, is gorgeous. This is the Switch design. The Xbox one is all black. Again, this isn't necessary at all, and there's obviously no amiibo support. There's no amiibo support on any of these third-party things, which is, you know, kind of a bummer, but is, you know, fine. You know, what would you expect? There isn't the amiibo support's on the right side, so the left the D-pad wouldn't matter anyway. But that guy right there, completely 100% unnecessary. It is. There's no reason to have an arcade stick. I don't know how it stacks up in the fight stick world, because I am not a fight stick or fighting game kind of guy. But I have used that to play platformers, and it is there's nothing like playing Super Mario World with an arcade stick. It's so cool. And when it comes to these different things, I think it's important to understand that, like, these are the way we interact with our devices. First party is another conversation, and we'll do the first party conversation. Maybe that is tomorrow's cup. We'll do that tomorrow. We'll do all the first party stuff. I think that's worth it. And when it comes to, like, or first party and licensed first party. That's a good idea. None of these are licensed, by the way. None. This is a unlicensed Nintendo Switch product recommendation. So in each category, right, like, this is how you interact with your games. So, like, get the thing that is going to make you actually enjoy the gaming experience. Let's just do a quick overview of everything. The Nixie Hyperions are the go-to Joy-Con replacements that I would choose if I used Joy-Con replacements. I thought they were Hori split pad compacts. I thought that was my go-to, but they weren't. It's these. This is the only sled I will use if I use a sled. It is solid. It is robust. It feels nice. Okay, this is the retro flag. As far as a adjustable grip, the only grip I will use is the Satisfy Ronin. They have a bunch of different grips on the market. Skull & Co. No, Satisfy Ronin. This is the only other grip I would use, okay? The controller that I choose is the 8-Bit Do Pro 2 because of symmetrical thumbsticks, okay? But if you do not like the symmetrical, then I would go Ultimate Controller. And lastly, the most important thing of them all, this huge, giant monstrosity, I would get this arcade stick. Oh, and don't forget, I think everyone should own this guy. Just have it. It's like $15. Just have a D-pad, little Joy-Con here, and you should be good to go. If you only have $100 to spend, I would get this and this. If you have more, a different budget, look elsewhere. Let me know what you guys think of these. If there are ones that I missed, let me know down there. This was kind of like an impromptu thing, but in looking at all the different things that I have in these shelves and trying to get rid of stuff and sell stuff to pay my bills, I'm like, what do I absolutely need to keep? That's what I need to keep. All right, guys, that's it from me. That was a good cup of coffee, as always. Oh, let me know. Do you want recipes? Just let me know. Anyway, happy gaming.